So we read through chapter 3, and Gurudev talks about us creating walls and love dissolving these walls. But I think the main theme here in chapter 3 is that we want love, and so we try and groom ourselves to get love. And so in terms of I think I also spoke about the ego and wanting to fit in, but also wanting to stand out. And it's the ego that builds these walls around our personality. Okay, so from a Vedantic point of view, if we remember, we are Om, and then we forgot we are Om, and we assumed these identities of these personalities. Now, Om is infinite. It's all pervading and it's complete, right? So even the mantra that we chant at the end of the class, Purnamada Purnamidam, Om is complete, Purna. So somewhere in us, we remember the feeling of complete. Somewhere in us, we remember the feeling of vastness and freedom and power and wholeness. And so right now, as these individuals that we assume ourselves to be, we miss that feeling of complete because right now, something's missing in our lives. So if someone's single, then a relationship is missing. If somebody's already in a relationship, then something in that relationship is missing. The person needs to be more this, the person needs to be more that, the person needs too much of this or too little of this. And so we don't feel the relationship is perfect. And so many times, people will speak about a spouse or a family member, and I'll say, but they're so nice. Yeah, they're nice, but one quality about this person that we don't like, which then makes us feel that incompleteness. Basically, incompleteness has that sense of there's a lack. Something is missing. And then that feeling of something is missing, we desperately try to fill it. We want to feel complete. We don't want to feel lack or missing or less. So we do this through many, many, many ways. And Gurudev has this whole long list. Marriage functions, basically any kind of celebration. So Diwali, Holi, all the Jayantis, all of that are included in there. Sports games. People do get very, very worked up about sports games. Music, belonging to different groups, belonging to. So we try to find completeness, sometimes through work, sometimes through popularity, sometimes through. And recently now this new trend of social media. There's like 14-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids, and they have thousands of people following them on YouTube or Instagram. And literally, it's crazy. They'll have 25,000 people following them, 50,000 people following them. It's this 14-year-old or this 13-year-old. But they were telling me, a family member of the child was telling me, there's so much pressure on that 14-year-old to produce the next video, the next post, the next. So instead of feeling complete, A lot of the things that we do in order to get the feeling of complete or the feeling of success or the feeling of belonging or the feeling of attention end up making us stressed or becomes, we get tired, right? So maybe we start off, you know, we join this group, we join that activity, we join, then we're doing it with all gusto. And then after a while, it's like, oh, I have to do that also. Becomes another thing that gets added to our to-do list. And it becomes more of a, sometimes it becomes a burden, sometimes it's just a distraction, sometimes it's just another thing to fill our day with. But that feeling doesn't go. Which feeling? Something's missing, something's not quite right. But when we love, that it goes. The feeling goes. But only initially, in the newness of the honeymoon period. This is not just romantic love, huh? Even friendships have honeymoon period. Neighbors, honeymoon period. In the, when we joined the Brahmachari course, I think in the opening day itself, in the opening speeches, one of the Swamis, I can't remember if it was Acharyaji or Swami Brahmananda, and he said, so you'll only really know what you've gotten yourself into after the honeymoon period is over. And I thought, Brahmachari course has honeymoon period. Yes, everyone's very nice to each other. How long does it last? 3 months max. 3 months is like, if you're lucky. Then honeymoon period is over. In a new job, everywhere has honeymoon period. And in that moment where you're feeling, yes, I found the one thing that was missing in my life. There's that sense of fullness. The walls come down and we enjoy it. Until we realize that this thing that we have found is work. Whether it be a friendship or a romantic relationship or career or sports, or it's work. And it has good days and it has bad days and it has. So then what's the solution? So love is the solution, but we have to have a correct understanding about what love is. But because the honeymoon period feels so nice, we chase the honeymoon period. We don't chase love. We chase that feeling of complete, or that feeling of, I found what it is that I was looking for. Now, what it is we're looking for is already there, but we're looking for it. Because remember, Atman, Brahman, love, wisdom, strength, everything it is that we're looking for is already here, but we're looking for it. And then we find a new relationship or a new group or a new job or a new skill that we've learned. And then we think, wow, I found it. But that's not it, because I already had it before this thing came along. And so that feeling of I found it gives me honeymoon period. Until I recognize that that relationship, that job, that is like everything else in the world, temporary, changing, and has both good and bad. Nothing's going to be all good, nothing's going to be all bad. It's going to always have both good and bad. So when we understand where that feeling comes from, and that the feeling is due to a misunderstanding, then we don't chase it. But if we don't understand, the feeling so nice, we will chase it. And it happens with any kind of addiction, right? It feels nice, and so we want to repeat it. Okay, and chapter 3 also speaks about in our love, after this honeymoon period is over, there tends to become a sense of bartering in our relationships. And sometimes it's quite overt. I will do this and you will do this. And for as long as you do this, I will reciprocate with XYZ. So in any, it could be something like carpooling. Then 3 days a week is your turn, 3 days a week is my turn, and everything's fair. And one day your car breaks down, okay, fine. But then if your car keeps breaking down and I have to do more days, I start feeling this is unfair. You are taking advantage of my good nature. And Guruji Swami Tejamnayanandaji says, what's the point of good nature if somebody's not going to take advantage of it? The point of good is that somebody should be able to enjoy it. But we don't see it that way. We think, what nonsense? How can people take advantage? Okay, what does taking advantage mean? It means there's a contract and contract's broken to favor you. Then I feel you taking advantage. If contract's broken to favor me, then I'm taking advantage. So we have these unsaid rules about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. So let's say something as petty as remembering birthdays, or wishing on birthdays. And fortunately, I am a Swamini. I am so grateful to be a Swamini because I am told that now on a person's birthday, you have to post the picture with you and that person, and then write how amazing that person is. And then wish them happy birthday on your post on Instagram. And then everybody reads what you wrote about that person. Great, very nice. Then the next person's birthday comes along. And now you have to match what you wrote in terms of niceness and kindness and amount of praise for that new person's birthday now. Otherwise, the new person is like, you gave a better wish to person X than you gave to me. And so you are not as deserving of my time and my affection because you didn't praise me enough in your post. This can sound really petty. We all doing it. Maybe we're not using Instagram post. Maybe it's invitations to functions. Maybe it's comments said at the dinner table. Maybe it's time spent with. Yeah. We take note. The person spent this much time with me. They spend this much time with that person. They said XYZ to me. They took my side. They praised me. They agreed with me. They never agree with me. They always agree with that person. So why should I bother being nice to them? They never agree with me. They're always hiding that other person. So I gave the example of Instagram posts, but we do it in so many ways. We take stock. And also we feel very obliged to reciprocate. Yeah. If somebody does, if we go back to the Instagram post example, put an elaborate message about me on my birthday, now immense pressure. I have to remember to do the same for them on their birthday. Yeah, I have to keep it in mind to make sure I reciprocate. That's an exchange. That's not love. Yeah. Even feeling obliged to reciprocate is exchange. Yeah. If we think of love as shown to us in nature, is the tree taking count? This person took 10 fruits, this person took 2 fruits, this person took. No, right? Yeah, this bird ate, this worm ate, this. Some humans took some, and nobody took my fruits. They fell on the floor and rotted. Is the tree taking count? The tree's nature is to produce fruits. And so it does. Then if one person takes more, one person takes less, some get eaten, some don't get eaten, all don't get eaten, makes no difference to the tree. Next season, it will produce fruits. Does the tree ever say, last year nobody ate, I am not producing fruit this year? Last year, people took advantage of me and they took even the fruits before they were ripe, before I was ready to give it. This year, I'm not going to give fruit. Never. It doesn't keep track of who does what. It doesn't feel I have to give fruits. It just gives fruits. Does the river keep track of who's taking water? Do the clouds keep track of where it rains? Nobody keeps track. Nobody keeps accounts. Nobody thinks. It's just the nature of clouds to rain. It's just the nature of trees to fruit. It's just the nature of rivers to flow water. And so the scriptures are telling us it's my nature to give love. There doesn't have to be any kind of calculation. Then people will tell me, that's just not realistic. You live in your own bubble. We live in the real world. I love how you live in the real world. Because you know it's the unreal world, right? And in the real world, you have to reciprocate. You have to do certain things. We have to, even Diwali, you yourself told us, don't give empty bowls. Don't give empty bowls. But give what you can. Right? Don't look what the neighbor's giving. I'll give that much. And there were all these YouTube reel clips, new thing on YouTube reels. So all these stand-up comedians who I didn't even know existed. There's this whole new genre of comedians that have been introduced to from South Africa, where I grew up. You would think I knew it. They speak with the South African accent, that very specific. Uh, um, and so around Diwali, there was this one lady who got all dressed up and she did this whole routine about don't recycle your Diwali toll. I did that. When I make something for you, I expect you to eat it. But what she did say in there that was really nice is that each one will give what they can. So give. But my giving doesn't have to be monetary. My giving doesn't have to be at a particular time. My giving doesn't have to be, it has to be true to who I am. Yeah. If I'm not good with words, then it won't be a beautiful write-up on Instagram that I do. Yeah. If I'm not good with physical affection, that's not what I'll give. Yeah. But maybe I'm not good with the words, but I'm very good with physical affection. Then that's what I'll give. But in my giving, when the minute there's calculation, I should give this much, it becomes a contract or a bartering. Or there's calculation, they didn't give, so I don't need to. Then it's no more love. Now it's transactional relationships. And so unfortunately, so many of our relationships now fall under this, where we give where we think we will receive. So either I'll receive by you loving me back, or if you are a position of power, I'll receive by you favoring me. And I will look good in your eyes. So my giving has matlab. As per we see in nature, that's not giving. Yeah. Giving is when I expect nothing in return. Huge ask, right? I give, it's only giving when I expect nothing in return. That means most of our lives, we're not giving. Because most of our lives, we expect in return. So how is this even possible? How can our giving get to the point where I don't expect in return? There will have been a few moments in your life when you would have felt so happy in your heart that you just gave and didn't want anything in return. In fact, when they try to give back, you're like, no, let me just give. Often when the child is very young, and I mean very young, below the age of 1, then we feel that. We have no expectation from them. Why? Because they really can't do anything. The child turns 3. Already we have expectation from them. What expectation? They should hug me. They should say hello. They should take the photo when I want to take the photo. Already we have expectation from them. How quickly this creeps into our thinking. And it goes back to this very fundamental difference in who we are. At the very core of our being, we are divine. And divinity works as per the rules of nature. Clouds gives without thinking, trees give without thinking, river gives without thinking. And then there's this ego entity. Ego entity feels, I am limited and I have to protect myself. There is limited resources and I should get enough. And so it operates from a point of scarcity, whereas our divine nature operates from a point of abundance. There's no shortage. I can just keep giving and giving and giving, and I will never run out. So that's the other reason we don't give so much, because we feel we'll run out. How much must I keep helping? I'll get tired. Or like I said, they'll take advantage of me. But if I have abundance, how can you take advantage of me? So if it's like the ocean is 2/3 of the planet. And if somebody goes to the ocean with one bucket, takes, and then somebody else comes with a tank, and the ocean thinks, this person's taking advantage of me. Will it? In fact, the ocean is given as a perfect example in the Bhagavad Gita. Every moment of the day, there's hundreds of rivers gushing into the ocean. Actually, I don't know if it's hundreds, maybe less than 100, but there's lots of rivers gushing into the ocean every moment of every day, which means more water is flowing into the oceans. But we don't see the ocean as getting more. Every moment of every day, water from the ocean is getting evaporated to become clouds, which then the wind blows and it rains on land, not in the ocean. But the ocean never becomes less. I know now with global warming, the ocean is becoming more, but that's not because of rivers and evaporation. That's because of the glaciers melting. So the example is, abundance means take as much as you want to take and I will still have more than enough, like more than enough. The ocean has so much. Give as much as you want to give and I won't have too much. Both are true, because there are some people who struggle to take. There's some people who struggle to give and there's others who struggle to take. But abundance is both ways. Take from me as much as you want to take and I will still have more than enough. Give to me as much as you want to give and I will never have too much. This is divine mindset. This is operating from abundance. This is operating from unconditional love. But when ego comes in, ego feels, if you take from me, I won't have. And why do we think like that? Because we're so used to dealing with limited resources, right? So in today's world, money, if I have $100,000 and then you come along and take half, now I don't have $50,000. It's gone. I have only 50. So you took and I have less. And so we think that's the way the world works. If somebody takes from me, I will have less. But that's not true. Yes, with a physical resource, it appears to be true. But tomorrow is another day, and somebody might give me, or I might earn, or I might win, and it won't stay 50. It might increase, it might decrease. Yeah. And then we get stuck on the number that I have 50,000. I had 100,000. Now I only have 50,000. But actually the question is, how much do I need? Actually, I'm very bad with money. So let's say what I need is 10. I still have 40,000 more. But I'm crying because I had even more. Was I using it? No. But I had it. And then we just get stuck in this mindset. It should be mine and it should just stay mine and I should just always have more and I should just never have less. And it's money that's done this to us. But love is not money. And love doesn't work like money. Please, please, please understand this. Love doesn't work like money. So I give you love. Have I lost that love? Actually, I still have it, even though I gave it to you. I'm not less. Okay, I gave you love. You got all my love. You didn't give me love back. Do I have less? No, because I didn't have it to start with. What I had to start with was my love. But I gave you. Shouldn't you give back? But I don't have less. Let's change it to if it was money. If it was money and I have 10,000 and I give you 10,000 and I still have 10,000, am I less? I know it doesn't work with money. With money is if I give you 10,000, I don't have it. But in love, it doesn't work that way, right? In love, when I give, I still have it. I haven't gotten less. So does it mean now you have more than me? Because I gave you my love. You didn't give me love back. So does it mean now that you have more love than me? This is a trick question. Please think about it before answering. Do you have more love than me? Because I gave you my love and you didn't give me love back. Very mean your love, by the way. Do you have more love than me? No. Why? Why don't you have more love than me? Because you can't keep stock of it. Why didn't you give me love back? You didn't have it to give back. You have to have it to give, right? Love's very different to money. But we use the rules of money with love. But it's a very different ballgame. But we still think, I'll only love you if you love me. I'll only give to you if you give to me. Because we're so conditioned in a world where that's what we do with money, that we start to do it in relationships. But money is a thing, and love is who we are. Now, you very beautiful. Let's say it's me who doesn't give love back because I didn't have it. It's my nature. And if I can't feel the very thing that's my nature, I'm extremely poor. It's like the sun not being able to shine, the water not being able to be wet, fire not being able to give warmth, me not being able to give love is as devastating, or what's the word I'm looking for, as much of a, what's the word, tragedy. So when we go into, and we all do, and we all have, and even people who have studied this book still will slip into this thinking because we've done it for lifetimes and lifetimes, and it's so much a part of our social conditioning. What thinking? This bartering system. I'll give you love, you give me love. I will give you X amount of love, you give me X amount of love, and then we fare. And then it's a good relationship. And the minute one person gives less, then I'm being taken advantage of. And I have to stop this unfair exchange. What was I going to say? We have to constantly remind ourselves that the very thing we're seeking in life, even in through our loving, is to feel complete. Remember, I started off with, we want to feel complete. Something's missing in our life and we want to feel complete. Now, if I love you and you don't love me back, then I don't feel complete because you didn't love me back. That's why I'm not feeling complete, because I am focused on you didn't love me back. Or you did love me back, but not as much as I loved you. We get really stuck on that as well. That, I love you more. Come on, you need to up your game. You need to love me as much as I love you. And if you don't, then I feel incomplete. I feel cheated. Now, I said earlier that actually the way to feel complete is to love. But we assume that it means getting love. That's not true. The way to feel complete is giving love. Because when I give it, I have to feel it first. And it fills me. And then I give it. And if I give with that openness, I will receive with the same amount of openness. And there's no keeping track. But because it's who I am, I will just continuously love. So there's no need to keep track. Okay. There's no accounts here. It's who I am. And the more I keep giving, the more I grow in my ability to give. This is another important thing, because this is one of the questions people ask very often. Well, how much to keep giving? Little bit more than you're comfortable with. What do I mean? I'm sure all of you have gone to some kind of personal fitness trainer, some kind of yoga instructor class. I'm sure everyone's been there, right? So I remember the first time there was this, she was a gym kind of person. It's not my favorite form of exercise, but she was very enthusiastic to train me as her way of thanking me for learning. So I said, okay, let's do a session. And she said, I can't remember what we were doing, squats or something. And she said, so how much can you do? How many can you do? And I'm like, 5. Okay, great. Let's do 10. I'm like, whoa. I said I could do 5. Actually, of course, I could do more. I was much younger in those days. Now I'm very, you can't push me. But in those days, younger, more energy. So easily did 10. And she could tell that I easily did 10. So we did 20. But I think I was only comfortable till about 15. The last 5 were really hard. But she didn't stop. When it got hard, she got really excited that it got hard for me. So how much should I do? Just like with exercise. If this much is easy, that's not how much you do. You do just a little bit more, not a lot more. If she made me do 30, I would have been not able to walk for the next 3 days. If my capacity is 15, 20 is actually a good. If 30 is too much, you'll never do a squat again after that. So the same with our capacity to give. How much should I give? Don't go beyond. Then you'll become bitter and resentful and never give again. Give. This much was comfortable. Give a little bit more. They didn't give back. Good. Why? Because that's what I want to learn, right? I want to be able to learn to give without wanting back. It's not easy. Of course, it's not easy. Show me one thing in life that's easy. Is making money easy? No. Is being married easy? You're all happily doing that. Okay. Right now, possibly, our thinking is, I have to make sure it's fair and I'm not being taken advantage of. If we could successfully change this too, I was born this lifetime in a human body with the capacity to love so that I can get better at loving. And it doesn't matter if they love me back. What's important is I learn the lesson that I'm meant to learn in this lifetime. They don't love back, maybe that's some lesson they have to learn. But I should learn my lesson. To be able to give without wanting in return. But I want in return. Okay, you want in return. Understand. We've been doing it for years and years and years. We've been wanting in return. Now, so start small. And start with strangers. It's always easier to start with strangers. Give them compliments. Random strangers. Give them lots of compliments. Be really nice and cheerful and affectionate to them. And then you don't expect it back. Why? Because they're random strangers who you'll probably not meet again. But you were nice to them. You didn't get anything out of it. You gave a compliment. You didn't get anything out of it. Very good. I have slowly learned the skill of giving and not getting back. Then do it to not close friends and family. Not yet. Very tricky. Very close friends and family, we deal with last. Then you do it to, like colleagues, people on the periphery of your social scene. Give. Randomly give gift, randomly give praise, randomly give encouragement. They'll think, oh, wow. And if they don't give it back, you won't feel bad because they're just on the periphery of your social settings. When you get really good at that, when they don't give back, then you come little closer and little closer until we can give all of ourselves without wanting back. Now, this is where we have to really practice it to see the benefit of it. And we have to remember mindset makes all the difference. If I slip into thinking scarcity, there's not enough, and I need to protect myself, and I need to make sure I have enough, I'll be miserable. I have to make sure that I'm thinking from abundance. No matter how much anyone takes from me, I will still have more than enough. Remember, I said this book changed my life. I started doing it the moment I read it, that day itself. And felt changes that day itself. So if you go out and you try, you will 100% feel it. Now, remember, when I talk about giving, we can give things. Things are easy to give, especially if you are affording, we can give. Yeah. When I talk about giving, it has to be of myself, my love, my time, my care, my affection, my attention. Yeah. I know there's a book, 5 Love Languages, and one of the love languages is gifts. We have to open heart. Giving gifts is too easy. We do it for Diwali, we do it for birthdays, we do it for Christmas, we do it for Thanksgiving, we do it enough. Give attention, give praise, give affection, give time, sit and listen. And remember, I saw this YouTube, something to do with, we spend so much time on these gadgets. And it was talking about how, because we so busy looking down at our screen, that even when somebody talks to us and if I'm holding the phone and I look up and I reply to you, we don't realize it, but the other person doesn't feel completely heard or acknowledged or seen. Yeah. And this is actually, takes incredible presence of mind to do it. He was saying that if you're on the phone and if somebody talks to you, not just put it down, put it away. And then like literally 2 steps, and then come back and look at the person. And that will have an incredible shift in the way that they feel. Like if you really want to give attention, give love, then it has to be, I'm not looking at this, has to be so distinct. And like I said, it takes incredible presence of mind, because so often when we're on our phones, it's not Instagram, Facebook. It's an important email. It's a message to make sure the kids get picked up. And so your mind's actually busy with that thought. So to put it away and shut that thought down and to completely look at the person in front of us takes willpower. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that my line of thought can be so demanding of my own attention that I'm not able to stop it. But this is what I mean by giving. If I want to give to you, I have to have enough self-control to stop my thought and be available here for you. And maybe all you had to say was, "Do you want a coffee? I'm going down." Be like, "No, I'm good. Thank you." And you might feel like, "Oh gosh." But this is the mindset that we need to change. It's not about one action. It's about cultivating a belief system, cultivating a quality. I develop the quality to disconnect from my thoughts and be present. The more I'm able to give, I cultivate the quality and the belief that I can give, that I'm able, and it doesn't hurt me to give. Right now, maybe my belief system is, it hurts to give. Each one is different. Each one of us will have a belief system about giving and a belief system about receiving. And so homework is to understand, how much do you give? How much do you expect back? Why won't you give more than what you get? What's the pain and what's the fear? There's 100% pain. Even as kids, someone didn't like us back and we were hurt. Someone didn't invite us back or give us back or love us back, and we felt rejected. There'll be pain. Pain will be the reason we don't give. What's this pain? Are we going to allow pain to rule our actions and personality? Or will we let love heal the pain and let love rule our action and personality? If pain is ruling, it's because we feel we need to protect ourselves. What are we protecting ourselves against? Pain. But I already have it. I'm feeling that pain every time I don't give. So what am I protecting myself against? Pain. You see how horrible of a cycle it is? Fear is the other reason we won't give. What are we afraid of? Pain. Rejection. So I reject the person before they reject me. And then I feel something's missing. Something is missing. I rejected it. we give in to pain and we give in to fear, and it's very normal human reactions. But it keeps us stuck in feeling scarcity. Living from a point of view of scarcity, we will always feel it's not enough, and we will always feel incomplete. We have to embrace pain, embrace fear, to be able to cross over to living from abundance. It's not one thought, guys. We can't make that shift in one thought. We have to really understand what it is that's driving us and why. If pain is driving us, why? If fear is driving us, why? And then the most important question, what will happen if I let it go? Let what go? The fear and the pain. That's a very important question to ask ourselves. What will happen? That hasn't already happened. Okay, so we live in this very bartering kind of love, and we call it love, but actually it's transactions of affection, attention. It's not love. Love is take whatever you want to take, because I'll always have more than enough, because I'm infinite. It doesn't end. So loving is not so easy, no? Requires you to change a lot of your thinking. This is why it's a spiritual journey to love. It's not self-help. It's self-help, but it's a little bit more intense. Okay, any questions?
When we give love, there is that hurt that you feel when you give love and you don't get it back.
Yeah.
And even though
there is hurt, definitely.
Even though our higher selves would want to follow this knowledge and want to adopt this belief that, okay, I know that I should still give that. So even if you act in accordance with that belief, the pain doesn't necessarily go away. That hurt doesn't necessarily go away so quickly. So how does that hurt? Even if you are acting in line with still giving and trying not to expect and continuing to give, how does that hurt get healed?
The hurt of not getting back,
Yeah.
Or being rejected.
Yeah.
How does that hurt heal? So there's two things. When I love the next person or that person, I continue to love that person, even though they've rejected me. And we will, because love actually doesn't go away. And if it does go away, it wasn't love. It was attraction or affection. Infatuation. But actual love doesn't go away, even if the person doesn't love us back. So in continuing to love, love itself heals the pain of rejection. The second thing is time. Time heals the pain of rejection or hurt. If you think of it as a wound, and emotionally it is, emotionally it's a wound. Whenever we lose something that we value. So if I value a particular person and I lose their presence in my life or their affection in my life, there's grief. So it's an emotional wound. And just like physical wounds, they actually take a while, right? So even with physical wounds, the top layer of skin might cover, so it's not as delicate anymore. But the inside wound takes a while for everything to grow back. So with emotional wounds as well, time. We need time to pass for us to be able to be completely healed. But we also need to keep loving for us to be completely healed. Because when there's pain or any kind of suffering, it pulls us away from our nature, right? Our nature is happiness, peace, love. And now suddenly there's hurt and sorrow. Now, so I've been pulled away from the essence of who I am. And loving, whether it be that person or the next person, brings me back to my nature, where healing happens. And so often you'll find, and actually during COVID, when people were feeling very lonely and disconnected, they bought puppies. Goodness knows how many puppies people bought during COVID. And at one point I was like, what's going on here? But it made logical sense. They needed something to love. They may have said they needed someone to love them, but actually no. They need something to love. It's just bonus that puppies love you back so easily. And why? Because in loving, we come back to our true nature. And the more we come back to our true nature, we heal. Because our nature is completeness. Our nature is calm, peaceful. So it will heal pain. And so often again, when people are in immense grief, go work with charities, children, old age homes, soup kitchens, because easy to love random strangers. You don't feel invested. But being there, looking after them, so often, so often you'll find that by going and looking after that soup kitchen, by going and looking after the kids in the kindergarten or after daycare service or something, this person heals. Human contact is very, very important. But it has to be a giving, right? And so you'll see that it has to be a charity. I am giving. I'm not getting paid for it. I'm giving. Yeah. So also to understand that expectation of wanting love is natural, but it's also okay not to. It's also okay. It's actually okay that they don't love me back. And it takes a while to get to that point, but Those are one of the things we can say out to ourselves, even though we don't completely mean it yet. This thing you can say, what? It's okay if they don't love me, because it's actually okay. So one of the comments in the book that Gurudev wrote is, it's not about who we love, it's about how we love. And that's why it's okay that they don't love me back, because they're just one person in 7.8 billion. It's actually okay they don't love me back. Doesn't make me less. Right? Remember this whole operating from abundance. Doesn't matter how much you take from me, I am not less. Doesn't matter how much I give, I am not less. So that the more I understand that, the more I understand that it's okay they don't love me. Actually, them loving me can't hurt me. It's me wanting them to love me that hurts me. But them not loving me isn't hurting me. But I want them to love me. What will happen if you let that go? Loving is easy. The feeling of loving and not feeling loved back is not. Even though we know we don't need to be loved back. Yes, initially it's very hard to feel rejected. Initially. Then you get the hang of it. I speak from experience, guys. It becomes easy after a while if they don't love you. It's like, it's okay. This one doesn't love me back. We'll try again. I promise you, I'm not kidding. I speak from experience. And then you're thinking, who doesn't love you? There's plenty. Okay. But there's on YouTube, there's this very cute Chinese dude. I wish I remembered his name. And he was scared of getting rejected. And so he read some book. Again, I wish I remembered the name. And the book said, if you're scared of it, practice how to do it and get better at doing it. So he set out one day to ask random people in the street to give them $100. Why would you do that? Because they're going to say no. And what did he want to learn? How to deal with rejection. So he asked 100 people in one day to give him $100, knowing full well that everyone's going to say no to him. And so he's videoing himself doing it. And, he's so stressed and he's so upset. And the first person he says, well, give me $100. And the guy looks at him and says, nah, and keeps walking. And he's like, that wasn't so bad. He just said, nah, he didn't say anything else. That's okay. And then the next person he asked, she stopped and she looked at him and she said, why? And he thought, oh, I didn't expect anyone to ask me why. He said, because I'm learning rejection. And she said, that's amazing. I wish you all the best. And she went on. That wasn't even rejection. You'd expect 100 rejections, right? And it was $100 US, not Hong Kong dollars. He didn't even get 100 rejections. I don't think he got $100, but many people spoke to him. Many people spoke to him. He went up to a cop and asked a cop. The cop kind of looked at him and like, what's this all about? So he told the cop he was learning how to get rejected. And he was like, let me introduce you to my buddies. You can ask all of them for He said he ended up having a really great day. We think it's this horrible thing. We assume it's this horrible thing. And we run away with it with so much determination not to feel it that then we stay thinking it's a horrible thing. I promise you guys, put yourself out there. You'll get rejected a few times. It's okay. You'll be fine. Start with random strangers. Easier with random strangers. Oh. Sarve bhavantu sakinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukhabhag bhave, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.